I know you mentioned like the fear of criticism. Like, what would you recommend for like your first step to get out of that fear of criticism to just go in like social settings and just not be so in your head about it and just be yourself? Like, how do you, if it's criticism, like how do you uproot that fear inside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things that it gets so hardwired into your DNA because it happens somewhere in your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're trying to peel back the onions
Mm-hmm.
and then try to liberate ourselves. But there's so much trauma attached, and every time that you do try to insert yourself, oftentimes you get more trauma because you're like, man, I tried, I failed, like, this ain't working, you know? That's like me saying, hey, I want you to be a good boxer, so I'm just going to throw you in the ring. Exposure therapy, because that's one of the things they teach you. They say, expose yourself. Just keep doing it over and over and again. Exposure therapy. But that's a fallacy in that mentality, because if I want you to be a good boxer, I'm not just going to throw you in the ring to keep getting exposed to punches.
Yeah.
You're going to get your ass kicked every time, and it's going to be so much trauma. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
That's what happens when people try to insert themselves in these social scenarios, and then it might start off with throwing in a one-liner, just to, here I go, like, boom, and they do, and then they're like, they realize soon, like, oh crap, it's just like, you know, the metaphor with the disciples walking on water, and then they start doubting, and they start drowning. That's what happens. You say your one-liner, you start looking, you see people, and then you start drowning. And then you replay it over and over in your head. So exposure therapy is not the solution. Honestly, the way I did it, because again, I used to struggle with this, so this really hits home for me. So I know a lot about this topic. Is I got access to mentors, and then I realized that it's not just mentorship, but then I have to also be willing to apply it. So one of the magical things that we do in our program is that we simulate real world scenarios, just like it goes down out there. Like, you tell me, what exactly are you struggling with? If it's inserting yourself, we would replicate that inside the class. And it's like, okay, now we're gonna insert ourselves in a conversation. Now we're gonna control the airtime. Meaning, how long should I speak? How long should they speak? How do I interject when someone else is speaking already? Because what if they're not adding value? What if I have something that would really add value, but how can I politely interject or politely interrupt? Is there some techniques for that? And then once I do, what do I say, or how do I say it? So it's one thing for me to tell you about it, but you can't read about brain surgery. You can't like take notes and then learn how to fly a plane. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do it. And the cool thing about our program is that there's a big emphasis on having you speak a lot. Like, the bulk of the sessions, and they're long sessions, and you get 12-month access. They run weekly. I got weekly half-day training in person, always with me, small group environment, always videotaped, and you'll be speaking a lot. And because of that, it's going to get hardwired, and you get that muscle memory, so that whenever you do face these scenarios in the real world, you've done it already so many times in the class that it almost feels easier out there when the pressure was higher. Just the way that we structure the classes. So that would be my analogy, is like, hey, if you want to be a good boxer, the best way to learn boxing is getting in the ring after you're doing coaching or while you're doing some high-level coaching, and they systematically tell you, okay, at first you're just slipping. Then you're throwing, they'll tell you like specifically step by step. You get used to the muscle memory, right? So I systematically work folks through that so that they can like realize, okay, this is actually, there's a science behind it. There's a science behind charisma. It's not so mystical. If I do this output or this input, I get this result. So that would be my best honest approach, would be, hey, try to get a really good mentor that can systematically teach you the art of boxing, public speaking, AKA, right? Like the same, you know what I mean? Because it's high stakes, high risk, high reward type of thing. Same thing. It's like that. Like, that would be my honest. I mean, the DIY, again, I've tried it for many years. It just doesn't work. The exposure therapies don't work. The inserting yourself, it's like that. I ask myself, how did I get the change in my life? And that's how I did it. And then also, how have I produced the change for the last 14 years in other folks' personalities? How have I helped them to unleash and become their true self, literally at their job, at the hospital, in the boardroom, at the conference, or in the living room, or at the dinner table? Like, how have I helped them to do it? It was literally through that, systematically creating that muscle memory, giving them a lot of formulas, a lot of templates, a lot of techniques, but then doing it. So that's one of the reasons why I have that quality control inside the classes. So I don't pack them like sardines, because if I do, then what's the one thing that I can't give you?
The visual attention.
Yeah, in stage time. So you said muscle memory. You said I got to speak a lot, right? Under a guidance of a good coach to show me what to look for. And in order to do that, we need time. That's why I give people 12 months worth of classes, because I know that you're not going to make every single one of them, but you can count on me. Like every other Thursday in Roswell, I'm there, 6 to 10 p.m. Every other Saturday, Sandy Springs, 1 to 5 p.m. I carve out 4 hours. Doesn't mean you have to stay for the whole 4 hours. Doesn't mean that you have to literally show up right at 1, stay till 5, or right at 6, stay till 10. None of that. But it's one of those things where I carve out 4 hours just because you're gonna be able to work it within your schedule. And then if you have a big presentation or you have a group interview, we work on interviews. We work on speeches. We work on how do I get speaking engagements. We work on how do I grow my business through speaking. We work on social scenarios. How can I hold court in a conversation? How can I speak better if it's in personal speaking? Well, how about if I have to do a work presentation and I have to present with slides? So we work on like different kinds of dynamics, and it's very practical. That would be my best advice. Get a really good coach on this in this area.